Hi friends, my name's Emma and let's talk Stranger Things. Welcome back to my channel. This video probably caught you by surprise. I have a lot of thoughts about season 4 of Stranger Things, and you know what better way to talk about all of my thoughts and feelings and see what yours are. I'm dying to see what everyone thinks, than discussing the characters of this season. I want to give a warning, there will be spoilers. We're going to talk about everything that happened in the season, basically by going through each character. I'm honestly using this as an excuse to talk about the series in a fun way. Theories, storylines, and of course, what I thought about each of the new characters. I also just got the spicy cough, so I thought that this might be a more chilled out video, a relaxing video to enjoy together, and I really appreciate the interaction. If you can leave some in the comments down below. So let's jump in. I've picked 25 characters. I have missed a couple. I didn't want to go on forever including every single character, so we don't have people like Karen Wheeler. I didn't include Sullivan. I mean, there's not much really to say about him. Let's just say he gets in the bottom tier. Patrick, Miss Kelly, Jake, who I don't even think he has his own scene. Vicky also didn't make the cut. I'm sorry. I do love her, just so you know. And also I cut the police officers. I'm sorry. But I just really wanted to focus on the 25 that I had a lot to talk about. So let's just jump in and we're going to do this classic tier style from S all the way down to D. Season 4 of Stranger Things, surprisingly, has become my favorite season really fast. And I know I've spoken about in the past, I just got over it on season 2 and 3. And I'm just so glad that I went and started watching season 4 because it changed my whole perspective of it. But also, I think you really need to get through the trenches and get through those storylines for everything to come together in season 4. And I'm glad it kind of wrapped around that way. And we'll get into that when we see the characters that storyline kind of belongs to. But first, we're starting off with Angela, who is the school bully, Eleven's not nemesis. She's just so awful, this chick. I don't actually understand. I don't know if there's actually American school bullies like this that point and laugh and do all that. And I am not one for violence, but when this girl's head got cracked, it was satisfying. That's so bad to say, but it really was. And I'm honestly, I hate violence in movies, but something needed to happen. I'm sorry, Angela. Angela, although I hated her, you're meant to. So I thought she was actually a pretty successful character. I'm going to grade them on how successful they were, storyline, arc, all that good stuff, and how much I liked them, of course. So a lot goes into this grading. As I said, basically we're using this to discuss the series. So Angela for me gets, a B. I think she's in the middle. Maybe a positive. No, okay. No, a B. A B's fair. Argyle! I've heard people don't like him. I really loved him. I'm really also not one for Cheech and Chong kind of comedic value, but I just thought that his heart was so pure, and he's such a sweet character. I do think, if I take my personal feelings for him out, that he wasn't very much needed to the series, but he did provide a little bit of comic relief, especially with Jonathan, which I'll get to. He was always a joy to see on camera, and I enjoyed him. And I think for like a 80s style show, it makes sense to have this kind of character, if you know what I mean. So actually, I'm going to give him an A. But this is a personal list. I just think, he's adorable. He brings joy and he's so funny. And don't knock it until you try it. I like pineapple on my pizza. Chrissy. Okay, Chrissy almost didn't make the cut for this video because we didn't see much of her. And that kills me. And that's kind of why I wanted to include her, because the whole setup for Chrissy and what I saw on social media, because I was very late to starting this season. I finished the season maybe 3 days before the new, like the last 2 episodes came out. I had seen a lot of her death posted, and I thought she was going to have such like a bigger impact to the series. I thought they were going to do a whole different storyline with her. When I see, and I hate that there's a stereotype, but let's talk about it. When I see a teenager, like a girl like this, who's a cheerleader, troubled, who's like going out with the jock, she's going to see the counselor, and I think the thing is, when she comes out of the bathroom like that, I'm going to admit it, I thought teen pregnancy, and I thought there was going to be so much more to her character, so I was really sad that they killed her off so quickly. So for me, I would put her, like, if she stayed, I just really wanted to know more about her, so I would have put her, like, up the top. But because she was kind of killed off pretty quickly, she was so likable for someone who was killed off so quickly. Can't say the same for some of the other ones. Actually, for any of the other ones, except for Max, of course. So I am going to give her a B. Yeah, I think that's fair. Dimitri, I think I'm saying that right. I loved him. I'll tell you why. He's a villain at the start. He's the evil guard, but he has a whole character arc that's not even, I mean, not fully explored, but it just happens in the background. And at the end, you absolutely love him. And I think that he was one of the better characters of this season, or that was introduced. You just didn't see it happening that way. And the gradual, like, rapport that he had with Hopper, like, it was just so lovely to see it break down and in that way. And it was almost unbelievable by the end that he was a good guy. I really enjoyed him. I'm going to put him as an A. I think that's fair. Papa. Honestly, the whole Papa storyline, I mean, he is one of the worst villains. I'm going to say it. Not in, like, he's so evil. He just has no justification. And I don't know if they're going to go even deeper into it. I'm glad he's dead, obviously. But I just didn't feel like they didn't show really any motive, and maybe they will. But the whole Papa, like that, it draws a line for me. It got a little bit excessive, and then one of the episodes was called Papa. I think it's a little bit over the top, a little bit cheesy, and not in a good way. I don't like Papa. Papa, nada. I'm not a fan. I think he's like one of the worst villains. He's not even cool. Like, he's just boring and annoying, and he talked way too much. I'm gonna put him in D. Dustin, I love Dustin. So, a couple of people explained to me that in volume 2, there was going to be a couple of main character deaths. And I thought it was going to be like the top main. I mean, it was really one of them, but I was petrified it would be Dustin, because I absolutely love this guy. And although we're going to get into Eddie in a second, although I was sad when that happened, and I'll explain my thoughts on that, the saddest, most gut-wrenching moment for me for the whole series was Dustin explaining to Eddie's dad what had happened. I can't. So beautiful, so hard, and such like the right thing to do. He did the right thing. And he just holds both of the parties of the show together. So like Steve and Eddie, like he held like all of the, you know, more adult kids of the group together. I guess they are adults now. And he holds everyone together. He is like the glue of this whole show, and people don't give him enough appreciation. Dustin is one of my favorites. My favorite. I think I would have stopped watching it if he died. I love him. But I know a lot of people who love Eddie. Eddie was set up to fail. Eddie, love him to death. Obviously, the satanic stuff, I'm all about it. But Eddie was like born to fail. As soon as they introduced this charismatic, kind of misunderstood character into the bunch, and then they gave this ultimatum that someone was going to die at the end, you knew it was going to be him. He didn't have like a love interest. I know that that's not like that should be an issue, but it usually is an issue in these shows. And then of course there was like the bravery aspect of him running and having to face his fears and all that kind of stuff. I still don't know what he was trying to prove by going against like a pack of bats to prove his point. But yeah, he was definitely set up to lose and introduced in a very strange way that he wasn't there the whole time. It was like he was just put there to kill at the end. But what a fantastic ride it was. And he was such a sweet angel, and I love him. I think that he will always be a big part of the show, and he gave us a lot of iconic moments, including Hellfire. Yeah, he's just adorable. I mean, he is an S. He's an S tier. But I do know why he had to die, because it was very painfully obvious when you have that kind of character. 11. Okay. I talked about this recently in my like wrap up of the month, but Millie Bobby Brown gets a lot of hate personally. And I actually don't think, and hold your thoughts, I don't think that she is the greatest actress in other movies. So I didn't like her in Godzilla Kong, but there is no one else, and I mean this, there is no one else who can play 11. And maybe she just hasn't had the right roles outside of Stranger Things, but there's absolutely no one else that I would believe in this role, especially the way she talks, the way she moves. Sometimes I can't believe that she can pull off what she can. I think that she is absolutely master brilliance. I love her. Obviously, we all love her. I'm just gonna reshuffle for 1 second because I feel like there's a lot of similar things I want to talk about and I want to kind of mix up the characters. Okay, let's talk about Fred Benson, another character we didn't get to know very well. He was kind of annoying, but I liked that because it was kind of getting under your skin. It was getting a reaction. It was like what it was intended for the character. But with the whole idea of the car crash and all that, there was just so much more to explore. And you know what? Maybe they will when we come back. I don't know. Maybe he's just as dead as Barb. I swear to God, if Barbara came back in the next season, what if they all just get released from the Upside Down? Have you thought about that? It could happen. It really could. I thought that he was good for what he was, but I wanted to know more. He just didn't feel fully fleshed out to me. And I felt like they set too much up for how little he was in the show. I guess it was the same as like the cheerleader, but for him, yeah, I liked him a little bit less than her. So I'm going to put him in C. Okay. This is the big one, right? This is Peter Henry Vecna. And Vecna, I didn't know, was actually an anagram for Vance, which Jack Vance is actually the creator behind the magic system used in Dungeons and Dragons. So that's really fun. So yeah, Vecna. Yeah, I'm just going to call him Vecna. I love this whole wraparound thing. And I'm sure a lot of you, just like me, picked it. When number 1 was missing, and they, you know, when he did the whole thing when they were playing with that game in him and 11, and he said, "Oh, you remind me of someone." They always say them. It's always themselves. Come on, we've seen movies before. It's always themselves. So for me, that was the dead giveaway. And because they kept referring to 1 as a him instead of, you know, anything else, I thought, okay, we matched it up. It was pretty simple, and they didn't explain who he was, but he was like the first one who greeted 11. It made sense. I liked the whole idea about how we thought 11 was bad, and it like linked around to show that she was good. Yeah, it was good discovery for 11 in this series, really finding out who she is. But Peter Henry Vecna, his character's good. His character is better when it's transformed into Vecna, 100%. He looked freaking sick. As a person, yeah, but I think he's still a great character. He is a great villain, and he is the villain. So much better than Papa. And he owns it as well. When he said that Papa was a mediocre man, I felt that. And Vecna and I had a moment. But Vecna does own his evilness, so I kind of like that even more. So I'm going to give him an A. Joyce Byers, Winona Ryder. Love her, 100% love her. She was made for this series, and I don't know if you've watched any interviews, but the way she talks about this series it gives me goosebumps, and it's so exciting to see. Winona Ryder obviously was huge in like the 90s, maybe even late 80s, and the way that her career changed after some scandals, it was really sad because we all love her, and just to see her come back and be such the core heart and soul, you know, with Dustin of the series, like I just love her. I love her, and it feels like she's almost playing herself. I don't know what she's really like, but sometimes I feel like that. I think she is adorable. She's frantic, she's frazzled, and she's exactly how a mother would actually react in this circumstance. She's so kick-ass and strong, and yeah, she's S tier for me. Jason, the jock, the bully. Okay, the most one-dimensional character in this series, apart from Papa. Hated him. He fulfilled a role for sure, but I felt like he was a little bit of lazy writing, making him like the jock, the villain, just didn't understand anything, was into guns. Like, it was just a very like easy character to put in there. I mean, I guess Argyle would be too, but at least he was likable. Yeah, it was really great to watch this guy die. Really great. I do think that his character served a purpose and it achieved like annoying you, so I will put him in C. Hopper. So I had the unique experience. I think everyone had this experience because at the end of season 3, there was the teaser kind of trailer where you saw that he was still alive. But I hadn't some people know this, I stopped watching like midway through season 3, and to catch up to watch season 4, I rewatched the whole thing with my partner, and at the end of season 3, it got so good. I mean, we'll get to Robin, but it got so good, and I really regret when I stopped because I was just about to get over that hump to when it got good again. And so for me, I never saw that Hopper died. So he died, but I had already seen interviews of the new season where he was talking. So I was like, is this a flashback or is he going to be alive? So it really was like a 2-minute death for me. But yeah, he comes back, he's full force, and he has probably the longest like character arc in this whole series because of the way he started. If you go back and watch season 1, he's a completely different person, 100%. And he has come around, and obviously in the end, he goes back into the jail in hopes of doing something to protect 11. Let's get an assault bath. Oh, let's attack this. Let's get that goo because it all might help somehow. Like, they all know. It's very strange. And I did like that they did that in this season, that we all kind of split apart, all join our forces together in different locations around the world to get this done. I thought it was a very interesting way, especially because it felt like it was so intense in some of the scenes, and then they would go to another storyline and it would be just as intense. I didn't mind what I was watching as long as they were like kicking butt, and yeah, I felt it. I did feel like I was a little bit angry at the start when the whole, Russian doll is revealed and we find out that he's still alive, and then we think that they're gonna, Yuri's gonna come through and they're all gonna get together halfway through the season. So them prolonging his return felt a bit annoying, but I am so happy the last episode there was the reveal of them meeting again, because I would have been livid. I had a feeling that that he was going to get to the door, see 11, and it was going to cut to black, because something that this show loves to do, it's like a cut to black. Even mid-fight scene, Vecna and 11, it cuts to black. There's no ads in this. There's no reason that it should cut to black mid-fight and then pick back up like 2 seconds later. But I'm so glad they gave us that. That's really like what I thought they would end the whole thing on. Yes. So anyway, love Hopper. And yeah, I really did like his storyline this season. So I'm giving him I'm getting him an A. I don't think he's like, I don't know. He's an A. He's an A for me. I tell you who's not an A. Jonathan Byers. I think Jonathan is the weakest character, and they're probably setting him up to die. Him and Nancy not on the same page, and I thought they were going to either work it out by the end or break up. To keep that going for a whole nother season, like the last season, which will be season 5, it's too much. He either disappears into the background, they kill him. I really thought they were going to, because he wasn't really doing anything this season. He was just stoned. He is annoying. He's lying to Nancy. And he's just being awkward. He's just the most awkward, and not in a fun, like Finn Wolfhard kind of way. He's just, I don't know. I really disliked him this season. He didn't bring anything for me. Argyle, he brought Argyle. Argyle like was really raising his stocks, you know what I mean? So he gets a D for me. Since the moment Erica landed on this show in season 3, absolute gem. Do you know who Erica reminds me of? You're gonna have to give me a second to explain. Gale Weathers. And you know how I feel about Gale Weathers. She is the most unlikely hero that comes and kicks ass because she can, and she doesn't care what anyone else thinks. She thinks only in logic. She's so smart, and she's actually like the unsung hero. Without her helping in last season and in this season, there's so many times plans would not work. It really took her to come around from her doing her own solo like venture to becoming part of the gang to seal the deal. And that's what Gale Weathers does. She kicks ass and never gets any credit for it. So she reminds me of the same kind of character to come into like a horror plot. And I absolutely love her. She is hilarious. And she just gets shit done. So I mean, she is S for me. She's one of my favorites. I would say her and Dustin are probably my favorites. Lucas. I don't know why I put the brother and sister together, but I mean, she outshines him 100%. Lucas, love him in the other seasons, do not like him in this season. I don't think you're meant to. You are meant to kind of come around as he softens out at the end, but I actually thought he was done for with that whole, it was a really graphic scene with him being beaten up by the bully. That was really intense. I really thought like there's no coming back from that. It actually really creeps me up. I don't mind that he had his own hobbies, but yeah, he stepped away from the group, and his stuff was like more important to him. I mean, that makes sense. It's school, and there was always going to be people who get cool and people who stay the same. But Lucas, it took him a long time to come back around, and I don't think he like is really brave in this series. He just kind of like not abandons his friends, but he really doesn't try and do anything to stand up for them until it's too late. I loved him when he was like younger in the other seasons. He was so much more likable and so much more outspoken, and this one I felt like he blended into the background, and I think that was the purpose, right? He was becoming this jock, and he was becoming this person he wasn't, you know, he lost his voice. Him and Max though are absolutely adorable, and I can't even talk about it because I'm gonna cry. But Max and him in the last couple, you know, scenes, obviously it won me back for him. So, I mean, I did come around, but him being in the hospital and being absent during the last couple scenes was really sad for me. But I understand why, and it's really sweet that he's there for her, but he wasn't my favorite this season. Murray! Okay, Murray, I have a hate-love relationship. No, I love Murray. I do love Murray. He's just a bit annoying, but he's meant to be, and he's quirky, and he's like aloof, which is really funny because him and Yuri actually have a lot in common, except for obviously Murray is a lot more reliable, he's more loyal, and yeah, they wouldn't be able to do, like Joyce wouldn't be able to have got there and saved Hopper without him. And Murray's fighting skills on that plane were like, what? I thought he was just not going to be good, and it was insane and such a weird thing, but the whole black belt kind of thing, I thought it was so funny. Yeah, I love him. He's lovable, and I like that he's not really getting anything out of this. Everyone else has like emotional ties to different people, and sure, he does with Hopper, but he is just from the start, from season 3 he came in, he's along for the ride, and he hasn't got anything else like emotionally invested in it, and I just think that he's fantastic. So for me, he's not like the biggest favorite of the bunch, but he is a lovable character, so I'm gonna give him an A because he's in that kind of lovable section. Max! No. When Max was going, I was like, I can't. Max? Why Max? I was ready for it to be anyone else but Max, to be honest. I couldn't believe it. Do I think that Max is dead? No. Someone else brought up today, I think my friend Emily said that they believe that, and this is a good theory, that Max is going to be the host body for Vecna. Vecna's going to come back within Max, and that's why when 11 went into Max in the last episode, there was nothing there. Good theory. But Max has been one of my favorite characters, especially in this season. I mean, this season was really around her. Obviously, she has the most epic scene in the whole season, hands down, running up that hill. But also like her escape and her like flashing back to all of the adventures and stuff, and how far they've come through all the seasons. So emotional and so powerful, and I absolutely loved it. So she had one of the best bits in the whole season. So she shined so much. So I mean, I already love Max, fellow redhead, love her to death, but this season even more so, and I really hope, I mean, as soon as I saw her arm snap, I'm like, girl, there's no coming back from that. It was so funny because I watched with my partner, and he's like, yeah, but she's a skateboarder, she can get over that, which I thought was hilarious. But yes, I really do hope, I mean, she's not going to get her eyesight back, probably. When 11 started healing her, I thought, oh my God, is 11 just like, this is her new power? And that's why I think there's a chance that whoever died might come back at the very end, released as angels. I don't know. I'm so hopeful. Let's move on though. Absolutely love Max. Okay, the next one, Victor Creel, which feels a lot like Victor Crowley to me, but Robert Englund plays Victor, which was like a reveal. I know a couple of people said, oh my God, did you see that, you know, the guy who played Freddy Krueger was in it? And I'm like, where? In the background? I hadn't got up to it yet. So it was revealed for me, but to be honest, he's in so many horror movies and a lot of low budget horror movies, so it's not like this is a rare sighting. And I think a lot of people who don't watch a lot of horror probably think that this is more rare than it is. But also, it was fabulous seeing him. Like, it's always nice to see a familiar face. The younger version of him is the guy from Ozark. I don't know his name, but yeah, that poor guy from Ozark. So I thought that was quite funny. But for me, I mean, it's all about his backstory, really, isn't it? So I mean, it is him playing that, but then there's like another person who plays like the younger version. What did we think? He was spooky. He was spooky, but he didn't really have a lot to do with the plot in the end, which we didn't realize. We thought that he was probably controlling a lot of it, and he was the reason that it all started, when really it was his son. So I guess he created the evil. He's the real papa. For me, I'm going to be completely honest, I did not love him in this. I mean, I think he's a creepy character, but it wasn't like this epic thing, and he wasn't really in it for that long. So I'm going to give, I didn't hate him like these guys, so I'm going to give him a C. Nancy Wheeler. I love Nancy. Nancy's so cute in this season too. She's adorable. She's come into her own. She is independent woman. You know what could happen? She could be like independent woman and just like actually leave this love triangle in the past. So that could happen. So I probably shouldn't speak too soon. I don't want that to happen. I want it to be with Steve. Anyway, I think she was great. I think she was great. She stood her ground. I didn't like that she didn't get along with Robin, but I think that obviously turned in the end. I think that she held everything together. She got shit done. Although Robin did more. We'll get to Robin. But I love Nancy. Nancy's a fan favorite. I think Nancy has been really consistent throughout the whole series. Obviously, she's made some mistakes. They're teenagers, but I think that she was a real help, and she is there for her brother and the whole gang when they need her. So I absolutely love her. She's an A for me. She's not favy fave, but she's pretty close to it. Okay, Mike. I appreciate so much how awkward teenager, like, going through puberty Mike is in this, because it's so realistic, and I'm so sick of the TV shows just showing the other side. And I think that he looks actually pretty fucking cool in his Hellfire shirt, and in that whole gang. Like, it suits him so well, and it gives me like Freaks and Geeks vibes, so I love that for him. But in this season, he was not great. I guess to add to the whole awkwardness, his whole like shtick about how he wouldn't say I love you, like this whole weird ass pressure that this poor teenager has to say I love you when they don't even like fully know what that means. And trust me, I get that it feels like, I don't want to say that they aren't in love, but it's just a lot of pressure for a kid. So I felt like that was weird that was his storyline, that he like felt like he had to say I love you because he didn't want 11 to leave him when he realized, I don't know, it just seemed to fit too much into Will's storyline, which we'll get to, but I didn't think his storyline was very strong in this one. Just not saying I love you and not, I don't know, losing the superhero. I did like the superhero thing and how that was like she was going to go be a superhero again, but he was also like just non-responsive during a lot of like the weird stuff that happened, especially like the roller ring. Like he just didn't do anything. He just kind of stood there. And he is not my favorite this season. He gets Lucas level of like, I wasn't feeling him this season. I just didn't think that it was very strong and very him, because like they say, he's meant to be the leader, and I did not feel that. I love Robin. Robin, the way she talks, she has that like husky kind of sweet, airy voice. I think she is the best. She is over the top, but she's so funny, and she got it done. She did. She got them in to see Victor. Without her, like, just going off on her tangents, it would not have like been as successful as it was. And she's another character, kind of like Murray, who just has no real investment, except for being friends with Steve, in the whole series. She's just kind of been tacked onto the end of not tacked onto the end, but she was a big character in last season. And just the way that she has weaved herself into this group, and she's just so direct and funny and fun. She's such an integral part of, moving the adult characters along. Her, Nancy, Jonathan, and Steve, and Ed. I absolutely loved her. I love Robin. She is one of my favorites. She's Favy Fave. Sorry, Favy Fave. And I probably should have separated her from Steve because Steve also is Favy Fave. And I saw so many articles about how Steve was going to die and they had set him up to die. I think as well because they removed his love interest. He couldn't get it. You know, it couldn't happen for him. And even Robin had like a love interest and he didn't. I know that that shouldn't be the marker, but it basically is with story writing in Hollywood. You know one unless you're with someone, which is ridiculous, obviously. But Steve, I have loved him since the first season. And it's so funny how different he is, and he has a huge arc throughout the season, and Nancy, you know, kind of acknowledges that. She says that he's grown up and there is something going on between them. He's really cool, relaxed, laid back, and still their protector. Absolutely love Steve. I don't have a bad word to say about Steve. He's great. And you know how great to go from like complete jock arsehole to how he is now. Love it. Look at this. Look at how this is aligned, guys. Okay, Will. This is important. We all know what's going on, right? Will is in love with Mike. I'm saying it. When the clues started coming in, I'm like, wait, am I imagining things? I really thought that paper that they unrolled was just going to be like a portrait of Mike and just like a love heart around it. But it wasn't as obvious of that. It just had the little love heart on the shield. I know that it was commissioned by 11. But yeah, we'll see. Mike's conversation with Jonathan, actually, you know what? That's probably the only good thing that Jonathan did this season is be there for Mike and have that conversation that was like saying things without saying things about being himself. And basically, you know, he's always going to be there no matter what, which was the sweetest. That he's always going to be there for Will regardless of anything, and nothing that he could do or be would change that. And it was just the sweetest. And Will's character arc is coming and it's going to be full forced in the next season, but we have just seen the start of it. They gave us a little bit of something. I think they gave us more than what they gave us with Mike, but and it was quite powerful. I was a little bit mad at Will at the start in the first couple of episodes, I guess, when 11 was going through all that really awkward stuff at school, that he wasn't speaking up for her, but I could see that there was something else going on. So when it was slowly revealed, yeah. I also think a lot of people, and I really want to hear, I'm sure you're probably writing a comment about it now, might have problems with the indirectness of the show, talking about how Will might be gay. And it reminds me of It, and how there was, you know, queer characters in that, and they weren't fully announcing it, and they were just being really subtle to try and like pay like service to people, but without saying anything, and they weren't direct about it. I would agree to a certain standard, but I'm like glad, I know that it's not just one and done, but I'm glad they have Robin and they've made a stance with that. So yeah, what happens with Will, we will see. We will see what happens with Will. But I loved Will in this. Him in the car crying, oh my gosh, when he's looking out the window, oh my gosh, such superb acting. Although he wasn't the strongest character in getting stuff done, he had some really interesting moments. So I'm really excited to see what happens with him. He's not Favy Fave, but he is an A for me. And Yuri. Damn Yuri, this guy ruining everyone's life. But the thing about Yuri is I'm not a big fan of how they switched him up at the very end. I thought it was not very believable. So basically, Yuri has been double-crossing them, selling them to the slaughter the whole time, you know, about to sell off these Americans. He's double-crossing everyone. He's taking their money, but then all of a sudden they give him some like spiel at the end. And he's like, you know what? I will save them because I don't want this to happen to the planet and to everyone. I know that he's like doing stuff for his grandma, buying stuff for his grandma, but it just seemed so weird that that was like the final, okay, you know what? They are saving the world. He doesn't know that. Like, what proof is there? I just thought that was a really weird way to get him to change after being such a bad guy the whole time. I know they had to in the end find a way, but it just seemed very strange. But I do think we've only just seen the start of Yuri, and I really am interested to see what happens next season. Because is he just going to disappear? But for me, he was fun at the start, but he definitely was not a favorite. He was annoying intentionally, I guess. But you know what? Oh, he goes in between a C and a B for me. I think I'm going to give him... Oh, I kind of liked him more than that. Yeah, I think I'm going to give him a B. So that is my ranking of most of the Stranger Things forecast. I am very excited to see what happens in season 5, the final season. But I am very kind of shocked that this is how season 4 ended. I really thought it would just be the end, and I can't think what more they have like to show. That when they have a battle in the upside down for people's souls, like I just don't understand what more could be at stake. And I really wish that they would have tied it up. And I mean, I could eat my words. I've eaten my words before about this show, but I really wish they would have tied it up in this season while it was so good. And that last episode was 2.5 hours, and although it was great, they really did stretch it out for time, bouncing back and forth between the final battles in each storyline. I'm glad they gave us the reveal, but yes, going out and seeing dead flowers, I mean, it's nothing compared to what we've already seen. So I don't know what's to come, but I'm very excited to see what you think. I know a lot of people have conflicting opinions about this, and that's okay. Just keep it nice and polite down in the comments. As always, I've had so much fun chatting to you today about Stranger Things Season 4, and I can't wait to hear all your thoughts. Who are your favorite characters? Who would be in your S tier? I would love to know. I hope you're all having a fantastic day, and I'll talk to you all very soon. Stay strange and stay spooky. Bye, friends.